Hello and welcome to Read Remark. Today we're going to talk about Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This book has been making a splash on the literary scene lately. It is a modern-day literary fiction retelling of Firestarter by Stephen King, in which a little girl sets little fires everywhere and can only come to squelch the fire by self-actualization and the power of love. Nope, just kidding. Oh. I think sometimes I'm a lot funnier to myself than I actually am in real life. Seriously speaking, Little Fires Everywhere is literary fiction. It is by Celeste Ng. It has a mother-daughter duo. Mia is the mother, Pearl is the daughter. Mia is an artist, an artiste, who has lived on the road with her daughter for pretty much her daughter Pearl's whole life. Every few months they pick up roots and move, and it's all framed around Mia's art. So she will get a grand idea in her head for the next art project, work on it for a few months, live in a place for a few months, and then once the project is done, they move on to the next place. But when you see these family units who are on the run, there's oftentimes more to it than just artfulness. Usually there is a dark hidden past that they're running from, and that is, I wouldn't say that it's a dark hidden past, but there is a hidden past from which they are running. What is the hidden past? I'm not going to tell you. Read the book. You'll find out for yourself. Mia and Pearl moved to Shaker Heights. It's not really a small town, but it is one of those insular towns where some of the town gossips seem to know what everybody is getting up to. And so when they settle down in Shaker Heights, that's when the gossip mill starts, particularly in the form of their landlady. Their landlady also has 4 teenagers of her own who are around the age of Pearl, and so of course those teenagers and Pearl become friends, and so there's a lot of intermingling between the two families, especially when Mia starts working part-time for her landlady as well. So there's your basic setup. You have this landlady and her husband and family, and they're all well-to-do, well-established in the community, and then you have Artie, Mia, and Pearl, dirt poor, moving, very itinerant, one place to another all the time, and here's this commingling of the families. At first, the landlady, I just finished the book today. I'm wanting to say her name is Mrs. Rutherford, so I'm going to call her that and probably be wrong and cringe every time I look at the video, but the landlady, Mrs. Rutherford, at first feels kind of this benevolent benefactorship over Mia and Pearl. She feels like she is doing them a real favor by renting them their house at a reasonable rate, at giving Mia part-time work so she can focus more on her art, at giving Pearl a second home with her own children so that she can have another safe space to go to. But the more Mia and Pearl kind of move in on the lives together, the more Mrs. Rutherford starts to feel more proprietorship, territorial, maybe threatened by their presence. And it's odd to even say threatened because I think more than anything, the landlady looks down her nose at Mia and Pearl. She doesn't necessarily feel overtly threatened, but maybe subconsciously threatened by the freedom that Mia has and by the wonderful relationship that she and Pearl have together. This book is amazing. Amazing. I don't want to get too far into the narrative because it's going to give away some key plot points, and I really think those are best left for the reader to come across on their own. But there are a lot of different themes that it covers. One is privilege. Privilege in many of its forms. There's white privilege because there is a Chinese baby who is, a white couple is trying to adopt her. Meanwhile, her birth mother is trying to get her back. And so there's the whole debate of, does this rich, well-meaning, loving white couple have more of a right to this baby than her very own birth mother does, and will that baby in turn lose her Chinese culture? Another is economic privilege, and this one is where it draws a lot more of a sharp dividing line between right and wrong. So the landlady, of course, has the economic privilege. At first, she uses it as a benevolent fairy wand upon all the little people around her in her universe. As the story goes on, she begins to use it more and more as a battering ram. And it's really interesting to see that shift in this woman who was not a bad woman to begin with. Things shift. It also deals with the theme of mothers and their relationships with their children. So you see a lot of different family dynamics at work in this book. You see a mother who has almost a hateful, resentful relationship with her problem child. You see a mother who has a loving, almost, I wouldn't say Gilmore Girls-ish because they're not peers. They're clearly mother and daughter, but more of a convivial relationship with her daughter. You see people yearning to be mothers, people yearning to be better mothers. You see a lot of different family dynamics at play, good and bad. Of course, there's also the coming of age element in this book. With all of the children involved being teenagers, you see a lot of growing up. So there's a shedding of innocence, a shedding of inhibitions. They grow up, they become little adults, and it's just such an odd time when teenagers turn from children to semi-adults playing at the adult games but not really having the adult emotions or strength to go with all of those adult games that they're playing at. And so it's a really interesting shift because there are a lot of teenagers in this book who are at that pivotal moment in their lives where some of the blinders are coming down. They're seeing their parents for who they really are. They're seeing themselves for who they really are. They're examining the relationships they have with other people. It's really interesting to see all of those different ways that teens are coming of age in the book. And then there's also the fire symbolism throughout the book. I'm not spoiling anything to say that Izzy, one of the teenagers, at the very beginning of the book, sets a fire to the house, literally her family's house. And it's very clear the message she was trying to send with it. But throughout the book, you see all these other little symbolic fires being set. People kind of burning up connections that they have had in the past, burning up the connections that they have with each other in the present, things sparking to life, things dying down in the embers. It's really interesting to see the little fires everywhere in the book, not just in the literal fire that's in the house, but just the burning and yearning and the spark that comes to life in so many of these people. I definitely give this one 5 stars. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. You should definitely give it a read. It's well worth the buzz. I highly recommend it. All right, let me know if you have any book recommendations of your own. I'm always happy to get them, and thank you so much for all the book recommendations you guys have given me up to now as well. It's been really fun to dig in and see some new authors that I haven't checked out before. So thank you very much. I look forward to more. I'll catch you next time. Bye.